Well, it has been a while, and these books feel like almost coming home again. Um, there hasn't been one in a while. I didn't know if there was going to be any more in this series, as both the author and the character are getting older in years, and we hadn't seen one in a few years, so I was really quite surprised when this showed up. So I'm anxious to get started on it. This is Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Kristina. This is where we read books and we talk about books. No special effects, no theme music, nothing special going on here. Just fingers crossed that the audio doesn't go. Fingers crossed that the visual doesn't go either. I still haven't figured out how to turn off something. I think I've turned off everything I could possibly turn out, but the lighting still goes dark, light, dark, light. I don't know why. But anyways, if you could please check out my Star Trek Fridays recaps and my If Thens on Fridays. I work really hard on those. I just finished 36 of Thanksgiving. We did Halloween. I did African American authors. I did Native American authors. I really need to do another one of those because I have since found books that I didn't include that I want to include now. And we started out with the Bridgertons, and also do not forget Flashback Mondays, where we talk about all the books in my favorite magazine. So please check all those out. But today, we are talking about book 26, J.P. Beaumont. I missed J.P. Beaumont a whole bunch. I really did miss him a whole bunch. And unlike other author books, this one actually has moved forward in a considerable amount of time than the other books. Sometimes, like Eve Dallas, she's into 60 books, and it's only been 3.5, 4 years since the series started on page. But in real life, it's been over 30 years. But in J.P. Beaumont's, it's been about 20 years now. So many changes in his life have occurred. He started out, when you start the series, he's a detective with the Seattle Police Department. And then, my foot is stuck. Excuse me. Ah, shoot. I really can't get it out. Oh, there we go. So, he started out as a detective with the Seattle Police Department. Then he met Anne Corley and that whole situation there. And Ron Peters, his partner, he went through a slew of partners who had a slew of bad luck. And he went through stuff with the department, then he went through the Special Homicide Squad, then he went through this other agency. He's been through now he's retired, and he's living with Mel, his third wife, I believe. And they are living comfortably in the retirement years. They're getting up there, their 60s, late 60s, something like that. And that's how much time has passed in Beaumont's life. His kids are grown, his kids are married, he has grandkids now that are in their 20s, that are teenagers. So a lot has come forward in his life. And we don't see Ron Peters and Tracy like I would like. And we don't see Ralph Ames like we used to see. We used to see Ralph Ames all the time. And she goes off every single video. Every single video she goes off, regardless of the time of day. But at least she cut out early. So that's good. So it brought back a case from way, 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 way yonder, before Bo had left the police department. They had a family situation. This group had come in and killed all the members of the family, and the only surviving person was a really little kid. I don't know, 5, 6, not older than that, really, really little. And he calls Bo up, and he says, Bo, I need you to do me this favor. I need you, this lady I know I'm friendly with has this case. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it was ruled OD, and the police closed it. They never bothered even investigating. Um, the guy was found in an alley with the needle in his arm, and he was right-handed. So how could the needle be in his right hand? In his right wrist, hand, whatever. And it turns out he had gotten out of jail, and he was going to the anonymous thing, and he was working as a bouncer in a bar, but staying clean, and also helping out in a church, giving out Thanksgiving meals. And this little old lady comes and asks for help to her car, and he helps her to her car, and he's never seen again until he's found in the dumpster dead. Oh, excuse me. So it's a blast from the past for Bo that this kid asked him, who's now an adult and married, family, kids, the whole 9 yards, asked him to do him a favor and look into this guy's situation. It was like I said, an OD or accidental death or whatever, but there was too many things about the incident that didn't seem right. So Bo is looking into that. In the meantime, we get more family stuff than we used to. Then I've always wanted more family stuff, a little more interaction, and we get that in this book. We haven't seen that we have seen some stuff in previous books, the coming and going type situation. But this is a steady presence. This is a steady storyline throughout the whole book. We were there from the beginning when Kelly met Jeremy. Kelly is Bo's daughter. And when she met Jeremy, and they had to get married quickly because she was with child, and Kelly was, really adamant in love with the guy, and they were theater workers back then, and they've moved up in life, and JP's had a few family discoveries, so they've come into a couple of dollars here and there. And we've gone through the story. You have to read all the books in order. I did them last year on my videos, so please check all of those out. If you want to read them along with me, read along with my videos. And I also did Janet Ivanovich and J.D. Robb last year too. But we did check in on J.P. Beaumont. I have not done the Walker series, and I have not done the Allie Reynolds series. I may do the Joanna Brady series, the one out in Arizona. I may do that at a future date. We'll see. But J.P. Beaumont is my favorite. And I love listening to these audiobooks, him and Maxwell Cole and Ron Peters and Ralph Ames. I love those guys. So we've got a little bit of a family situation. One of the grandkids, who's now 18, has run away from home. Apparently, his parents did not communicate to his grandfather, J.P. Beaumont, that they were having marital problems. Not only are they having marital problems, but they are living separately. They have separate houses. They're involved in separate situations. And apparently the father is in love, or supposedly in love, with this young lady who is with child. And she has told Jeremy that she is the father of said child. And one of the reasons Kyle left, unknowns to Jeremy, because Kyle did not tell, the son did not tell the father, but one of the reasons Kyle left was because Caroline, the supposed soon-to-be mother, stepmom, was making out with his friends. And he didn't think it was right, so he leaves, packs up all his stuff, and goes to live with his grandfather, J.P. Beaumont. And he tells J.P. Beaumont all this stuff, and so J.P. Beaumont checks into this Carolyn girl, and she has a past that stirs up stuff you would not believe. It's so interesting. It's very intriguing. So we have a very multi-layered. And the thing that Ben Weston wants him to look at is also massively, massively, majorly layered. Bo ends up uncovering a serial killer. Thanks to friends and connections he knows, he works with Todd Hatcher, the computer guy. He works with this lady, Name Us. It's a DNA thing. A Second Chance. I didn't write my notes. I have my notes, but I didn't print them out. But, it's amazing. It's so multi-layered. So you have your Ben Wistons and the case of the guy with the OD thing. And the fact that when he talks to this Yolanda lady, who's also she's a statistical person and she's been researching and she's been documenting all these other cases of unsolved murders in her eyes and in the family's lives. In the police department's eyes, they've been case closed. So she gives J.P. Beaumont all of her notes, but without the last names of the parties involved. And when J.P. starts to see similar items in those cases in conjunction with his case, it ends up expanding. And she sends him almost 200 cases, and he spends days upon days reading all these cases, and they're very interesting. And he initially finds 5, and it turns out to be a lot more than that. This opened up a huge, huge can of worms, a huge multi-layered. So we've got the Ben Weston case with the guy with the drugs. Turns out he wasn't the only one. There were others. And it turns out there were clues, like the fact that left in the guy's wallet was $200. And one of the victims, who provides an awesome clue to Bo, says that the cashier wouldn't take the money because it was considered counterfeit. It turns out it wasn't counterfeit, just that it was printed before 1990. Apparently, the security bar only shows up after 1990. So the money was real, and it was probably worth a couple of extra bucks. In regards to denomination situation, but they didn't get too much into that. But that was a major clue. And then surveillance photos shows our homeless person with a fancy schmancy watch. And all these little clues JP starts to put together. And he puts together this case, so he has to go to the police department. And his other son, Scott, works in the police department. And his father is so proud that his son has followed in his footsteps. And they take the case. And they go with it. And they end up solving it. So we end up solving who this Caroline character is and who the serial killer is. And it's a doozy. It's multi-layered plot. It is so good. It was a good book. It was an enjoyable book. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed all the family time in there. And you'll just have to read all the cases and stuff. But it was a really good book. So this JP was very happy to learn about Ben Winston and about how his teddy bear helped solve 25 murders. And it's weird. Now that we're on the other side, it's weird. But this book is just before COVID. And it takes place in March of 2020. Just before all the schools are closing down and everything closes down. So it's really interesting to see it from being on the other side, we have passed it. We have moved past COVID, and we've come out the other side. And now we need to move forward and get past some other stuff. So please hit the like and subscribe, and please enjoy the heck out of this book. Enjoy all the family catch up, all the I like all the family updates in it about Kyle and Kelly and Jeremy and Scott. And Scott has a little bit of news in the book, and JP doing his investigating thing and his crosswords, and their new dog, Sarah, and their neighbor, who turns out to be an old drummer and a lover of Mustangs. And my husband has his hunk of green in the garage, 1968 Mustang. And I've always tried to, it's lime green and it needs a little work before it can go on the road again. It needs some new brakes and a new carburetor, I think. But other than that, stuff made in the 60s and 70s still works. I like those boats. I would love a boat. And I don't mean a boat. I mean a land yacht. I mean one of those automobiles that had 20 feet in front of you and 20 feet in back of you. Today you have what? This much? But we get sidetracked. And JP sold his condo. I was very surprised to hear he sold the condo. He loved that place. He loved the view of the dome, the Needle. Isn't it the Seattle Needle? I forget. But please check it out. This was a good book, and it was nice catching up with JP and Mel. And she has a difficult case to deal with. She has her own little issues in the book, too. And catching up on the family and hearing from Ben Weston and his family and all the stuff that's gone on in his life. So it was good. And I hope there's another J.P. Beaumont before, he gets too old or the author gets too old. Because sometimes you get attached to characters and it just makes you sad. So but please go back and check out all my videos on this series and read along with me. It's a really good series. And please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you.